Okay. Yeah, I had to turn on the recording, you guys. Hello, 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 and welcome to the November pre-holiday edition of the Alumni Association meeting. We're really excited with what we have on the call, and we appreciate all of you guys. At this time, I'm gonna turn it over, I think, to Brenda, who's gonna do the roll call.
Not yet, Albert.
Nope.
Sorry, our chairman.
Go ahead, go ahead. Well, then, I'm so
He's not
sorry.
Swiss cheese. He's not Swiss cheese.
Uh-oh, let me pass it over to the president.
I'm not Swiss cheese, I'm chopped liver, don't worry about it. Good evening, everybody.
What's up,
Joining us. We, like Malik was saying, we're very excited for tonight. We have good presenters, and we want to thank them for their services. As you know, it's Veterans Month, and I am under the weather. I don't feel too good, but still, I make it my business to be here. Last month, I couldn't make it because I had family. My father-in-law was very sick, and as a result, he's still in the hospital. So, but I had to make sure I got on today, Yeah, my name is Albert. I'm the president of the Alumni Association of New York State Steering Committee. I want to thank For New York, who took us under the wing, so to speak. And, we partnered with them and we're doing big things, and there's bigger things to come. And I want to thank Patricia Lincourt, Oasis, for supporting us and always, participating and coming on, and giving us information of what's going on in the recovery movement. I'm a person in long-term recovery. I'm also the supervisor for peer services for the outpatient program at Samaritan Daytop Village. I'm on the board of For New York. And I just finished completing my 13 core courses for my certified peer specialist certification, so now I just got to submit the application, and I feel, that was a big accomplishment. I thought I was never going to finish those core courses, but thank God I got through it. I'm also on the Bronx Council on Alcohol and Substance Use Disorder, where I co-chair for consumers. And with my partner there, Louis Lavoy, who's the chairperson of the Bronx Council. And welcome, everybody. I'm so excited, and I want to hear the stories, man. So without further ado, take it away, Wilvina.
Okay, thank you so much, Albert. Feel better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on the agenda, let me go by that. We do have the program roll call.
I'm sorry.
No.
Louis.
Oh, you know what? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. We're supposed to be introducing everyone.
Yeah.
Let me fall back.
I got it. Hi, guys.
Louis, come on, Louis.
I'm on. First and foremost, let's have a moment of silence for those loved ones suffering through this pandemic and those that have passed away as a result of COVID, overdoses, racial injustice, and our deepest condolences for Mitch Rosenthal and his family, the founder of Phoenix House, who passed away this week. Thank you, guys. May our future continue to be filled with hope, unity, and love. My name is Louis LaBoy. I'm a certified recovery peer advocate and alumnus of Phoenix House on the steering committee for the New York State Alumni Association, Friends of Recovery New York, the chairperson for the Bronx Council on Alcohol and Substance Use Disorders, board member for the ASAP New York Certification Board, and an Oasis education and training provider, member of the South Bronx Street Outreach Team, member of the Bronx Opioid Impact Collaborative, and Citywide Addiction Support Network. I'm also the director of the Addiction Services for residential programs at Acacia Network. I'm a person in long-term recovery, and what that means to me is that I have not used any drugs or any people in 24 years. And tonight, we welcome all our friends, our loved ones, alumni, KSAC students, providers, consumers. A very special welcome to all our veterans, peers, and recovery coaches here tonight. The New York State Alumni Association is committed to empower everyone affected by the horrors of addiction to find and maintain a new way to live and to pass it forward to the vulnerable persons around us. As peers, we need to provide the community with the medicine needed. Lots of love and encouragement to get vaccinated. Peace and blessings, everyone. Back to you, Wilvina.
Okay, so let me continue to introduce the other members of the Alumni Association Steering Committee, and I'm going to pass it over to Anne Marie.
Navy
Good
Mom.
morning, family. Pay attention to my sweatshirt that I'm wearing, okay?
Very
And
nice.
also,
Yes.
Veterans Month. And also, thank you, Brenda, for putting in the chat that what are we grateful for? This is also Thanksgiving, Gratitude Month. What are we grateful for? Well, my name is Anne Marie Cross, and I'm grateful to be a part of the steering committee. I'm grateful to be a person in long-term recovery. I'm a recovery coach, a SERPA, and a KSAC, advanced KSAC. And I work in the field of human services, treating chemical dependence and mental health. I'm a single parent in recovery, and I'm excited to be a part of the veteran family right now because my son just completed basic training and he's a Navy man, he's a sailor. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Welcome, welcome, welcome to all the old people, the people, the summertime people, and all of you guys. The next
see
time we see
in
each
my
other, we
Navy
bring in
hat.
the new year. All right, thank you, Albert. Thank you for that. Don't tread on me. Okay, I'll remember that. The next time we have this meeting, we'll be welcoming the new year. So please be mindful of the holiday season and everything that comes with it. A lot of joy, a lot of gratitude, a lot of family, but also a lot of pain and suffering to the addict who is still using and doesn't realize that he doesn't have to use anymore. With that, I give you back Wilvina.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Anne Marie. And the next member of our steering committee meeting, I don't know if I see that member here. Kevin, is Kevin here?
I didn't see him.
Okay. All right, so
And Ed ain't on either because he's upstate in Rochester. He's holding their meeting today.
okay. Okay. All right, so I guess at this time, I could either just Angelia, Dr. Smith Wilson.
I think we're doing a roll call. Brenda?
Yes, now the roll call. Now the roll call.
Okay.
Well, Venus, like, y'all just taking my agenda and just right.
That's fine. That's
roll
fine.
call.
Go- Brenda, yes, please, let's do our roll call. Thank you, Angelina.
Let's hear her back.
All right. Finally, yes, it's time. So just want to say I'm grateful to be on tonight. Just have a lot of gratitude for life, a lot of gratitude for all of the opportunities that have been presented, gratitude for this meeting that has continued for the number of years that it has, and it has survived through the pandemic, and we kept faithfully charging on, and just grateful to see the growth that is happening, all of you that are on. But we also are grateful for those who are currently in programs, those who have graduated from treatment providers, those who are on tonight. And so we want to recognize all of those individuals. We do a roll call for the 12 addiction treatment centers that are across the New York State, from Buffalo all the way to Long Island. And so we are grateful to the staff, as well as the participants, for taking out their time to come on. So we want to give a shout out to Stutzman ATC,
Yeah.
Buffalo, woo, DVD
Right.
in Ovid, New York.
Yeah.
Let's think about those that are in Buffalo with all of that snow coming.
Yeah.
And Ovid, New York, and St. Lawrence. I know the snow is there. McPike, Norris, ATC, Ward, ATC, Blaisdell, ATC,
Blaisdell.
ATC, Bronx. The Bronx is in the house.
Yeah, the mighty Bronx.
Creedmoor, ATC, Kingsborough, ATC. See you all on Kingsborough, yay. South Beach, ATC. I see you, Patty, from CK
Yeah.
Post. And usually Mary is on, the president of the Alumni Association.
All
I
right.
know we've had other providers that have come on. So I know Elmcor has usually been in the house.
Elmcor's in the building.
They're in the
Elmcor.
building. Woo! Elmcor. All right. And we have other providers that came on with us for the first time last month. And I see a couple of them on again from alumni. We are really reaching out to alumni associations all over to come on. It is important that we encourage those. This is a connection that you can continue to have past being in that program. We have Terrence, I think, that's on today from the Bronx. He completed the Bronx, and he's come right on to the Alumni Association. Stay connected. It is really important to stay connected. So grateful to have you on. Stay with us. This is a ride. On the alumni, right? And you will get connected to a lot of resources. One of the things that I just, before I transition, just want to say is that there is an SERPA survey that has gone out to some of the SERPAs that have been working with individuals that have an opioid use disorder. And what we want to do is, if you received the email and have not completed the survey, we're asking you to please, please, please do so. You will see my name attached to it. So if you see Brenda Harris Collins, please complete this survey. Please do so. And you will be getting a $25 gift card. If you have any issues with completing that survey, please let me know. I have to apologize because I will not be on for the whole time, but I applaud all veterans. My husband is a veteran, my father's a veteran, my brothers were veterans, my uncle and aunt were both in the Air Force, and that's where they met, and they've been married for over 60 years.
Wow.
And the last time they celebrated their wedding anniversary, they did so in their Air Force uniforms. So I'm a part of a veteran family, and my husband also was down at 9/11. He was in the National Guard at that time, but he also served in the Army. So I know some of the struggles and of veteran families. So just want to applaud all of the veterans that are on this line. Yay. And also want to, this is also Native American Heritage Month. So we also want to celebrate all of the Native Americans that are struggling and need to receive some of the services and supports that we have. And it is Gratitude Month. So I hope that every day you wake up that you will find one thing to be grateful for. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you so much, Brenda. All right. Let
And
me
I want to say
get
one
this.
more. I'm sorry. I am wearing my uncle. Before he passed away, he gave me this hat. He served in Korea, the Korean veteran. So in honor to him, I'm gonna wear it tonight.
Salute him. Salute him. Yes. God bless. So we're moving it along. So we got Dr. Angelina.
Yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm so glad that it's almost 50 people on this call. So just a testament to folks wanting to be at this meeting and learn and get new information. So hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Angelia Smith-Wilson, Executive Director of Friends of Recovery. Ben Riker, who is our Director of Policy, would usually be here to provide some policy updates. I'm not going to go into all of the great detail that Ben went into. I went to mute, but I did put what I was saying. Some kind of way, every time I try to click something in the chat, put something in the chat, it mutes me. So I will put, once I finish talking, I will put in the SAMHSA strategic plan. Ben had 2 points that he wanted me to hit on first before I give the regular for New York, Friends of Recovery New York updates. The first report is he wanted to ensure that all of you guys had access, as I wanted to the New York State Comptroller's overdose rates report. I know it is a big report, and people are like, well, we don't have time to read all of that. It is still, you know, you need to have access to that information because we are still in the midst of an opioid epidemic, right? And the numbers keep kind of climbing. And so 38% nationally, the numbers climbed, but here in New York State, we saw an increase with up to 44%. What does that look like? Well, it looked like the rate increased fivefold in Black New Yorkers, right? So that means, you know, as we were looking at the rate before, the rate has increased 5 times the rate for Black New Yorkers. It has quadrupled for a Latino and the Hispanic community, and it has tripled for white New Yorkers. So at the end of the day, everybody is being impacted and continue to be impacted by the opioid epidemic. And people are losing their lives daily as a result of this. So one of the things that we wanted to do is to bring this to your attention because everyone plays a role in being able to mitigate the spread and the rapidness of this, right? We can all begin to practice harm reduction principles and ensure that people are, you know, have access to safety and environments and all of those things. So I did put it in the chat earlier. I want you guys to take a look at that and then cut and paste that link out. And when you have time, take a look at it. The other thing is on the federal government side, the federal agency that governs substance use and mental health has finally put out a strategic plan. And that plan is looking at a number of different key areas. One of the things that I would have liked for them to drill down a little bit more on is equity. You know, there has been a number of reports out that is saying that the Black and Brown community is being impacted by access to treatment. Still, at this day and age, Black and Brown individuals are not necessarily having access to treatment. We all know that there's multiple pathways to recovery, but treatment is very much a pathway for individuals. And so it is important that all avenues and all ways that people can maintain health and sobriety or recovery and seek recovery, they have access to do that. And one of those ways is treatment. And treatment is still being not Black and Brown individuals are not having access to it. So I was really kind of troubled by that. So the other thing with regards to policy is you get to play a role, okay? Our 2023 Stand Up for Recovery Day is in person. For the last 2 years, it has been virtual. And now we are back in those streets, so to speak, right? We are in person in Albany. We are working diligently to get treatment facilities, some recovery centers, whoever we can to sponsor buses. Wolvina is working so hard with me to try to get a minimum of 3 to 4 buses out of the New York City area. Where individuals can sign up for those buses once we secure them. and get on that bus and travel to Albany at no cost to them and spend the day with hopefully over 900 recovery advocates. And in the morning, we will have, talk about our issues and gather support. And then in the afternoon, go to the legislators' offices and meet directly with their staff, be face-to-face with their staff, and show them the power of recovery and how recovery has transformed individuals' lives, turning them into individuals that vote, individuals that work, family, individuals that take care of their children, all of these things that we continue to fight on a daily basis. Some of the stereotypes in the faces of individuals who used to use drugs, as well as individuals who continue to use substances. So it is going to be very important over the next month, the month and a half, that when you do see the opportunity for you to sign up for a bus to come to Albany, it will be an all-day affair. We will be giving you some breakfast. We will be providing some snacks throughout the day and all of that, but it will be an all-day affair. Probably begin to depart from Albany, coming back to the city around 3:30, leaving out from the city probably around 6:30 in the morning. And so when you see that opportunity to sign up to come and be a recovery warrior, recovery advocate for the day, please do not sleep on that. Please, please, please. Your voice is so needed. It is so needed as we continue to fight for policy that's going to wrap around individuals in the recovery community. We've had some wins. We've also had some challenges this year. We have specifically had some wins with the Opioid Advisory Settlement Board that did recognize recovery as being in need of receiving some of those opioid dollars, settlement dollars, which I kind of knew they would.
What is that date, Angelia, for the Stand Up for Recovery Day?
February 7th, 2023. So Tuesday. It's always on a Tuesday. So stay tuned. We will be putting out information as soon as we get that information. We've already started meeting, like I said, with providers and with recovery centers to be able to do that. But if I can encourage you to think about being there, I will say it will change your life, okay? To be there, to go and advocate for services that are very, very, very important to your life and the lives of others and family members. To advocate for that is this, I love every opportunity I get to be in front of a legislator and their staff and prove the stereotypes that they may have or the lack of education that they may have. I love to prove them wrong and I love to fill in the gaps. And they do appreciate the education that the recovery community has done for the last 10 years around that. Stand Up for Recovery Day is one of the largest advocacy days in Albany. That, like I said, that has traditionally yielded up to almost 1,000 recovery visitors that transcend on the Capitol and as well as do the march, the recovery march. One last thing, we will be this year incorporating some talent from the recovery community. And we have this big show at the convention center from like 9 to noon. Folks get up. Our very own Luis has been part of Stand Up for Recovery Day. Maybe like 2 or 3 times he's gotten on the stage and spoke. And we are hoping to have, I think I can let the cat out the bag, hint, Malik this year to rouse up the crowd and bring some of his Malikness to Stand Up for Recovery Day. But Buvina, are we able to put that link in the chat, or Jen, are we able to put the link in the chat with regards to the auditioning?
You know what?
I'm say audition because I know it's going to be like 50 or 40, 50 people trying to get on that stage for Stand Up for Recovery Day. But there will
So yeah, just to be clear, there is going to be the link in the highlight page with the dates and times for the auditions. And we know and anticipate, especially you know, some of our big participators from the Bronx, probably we want to welcome you guys to do that. And also, is there a separate registration for the Stand Up for Recovery Day? Or that's just going to be connected to the buses?
Yes, there will be, well, we have the Save the Date is out. The registration page will be released in a matter of days. There's a separate registration for Stand Up for Recovery Day, as well as there will be, so a separate link will be sent out for individuals signing up for buses, because again, those will come from specific areas of the state. Like we're having Western buses, we're having Central buses, Long Island. There will be some bus or two from Long Island. And then in the city, even North Country will kind of, so we will anticipate us having, once we have all of our kind of our bus captains and our bus coordinators finalized, and then we will begin to release that information for sign up. But that will be free and first come. Okay, first come, first serve, and that will be free. So you will want to sign up as soon as you get the information, because those will be 56 seats, 55 to 56 passenger buses. And I hope, it is my hope to bring at least 10 buses to Albany. So that individuals, so that we can, you know, show up and show out.
So Jennifer actually just put the link in the chat. Thank you, Jennifer, for the talent auditions for the Stand Up for Recovery Day. And yeah, we will totally be, we'll reach out to you well before then and get you that registration link. So Angelia, thank you so much for all that incredibly important. One more thing I see.
One more thing. I hate to sound like a Baptist preacher. One more thing. But we did just complete, we're in the early stages of our analysis with regards to the survey, our point in time survey that we did at the conference. Just preliminary, the number one thing at the top of the list this year was recovery housing, which recovery housing has always been in the top 4 to 5 categories. But for some reason, the recovery community has elevated recovery housing to the first position of area of concern. So we're going to drill down more on that and begin to get some information and put that out. But I wanted you to know that if you had not had an opportunity to take the survey, it has closed, but nevertheless, we will still be, you know, once we put the information out, people get to comment on our survey, because that drives, all of that information drives our policy direction for 2023. So I think I did Ben proud.
Okay.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Angelia.
All right. Any questions at this time about any of that? Okay. All right. So, oh wait, somebody has their hand up. Hold on.
Hi, I'm Paulette. I'm a Serpa from Rochester, New York, and I don't see very many people here on the line for Rochester, but I am interested in going. I'm not sure how to. I mean, I could drive, but I'd rather not. I'd rather ride the bus.
Paulette, are you on our mailing? Do you receive any information for New York? Do you get our weekly newsletter?
Not sure if I get the weekly thing, but I do get
okay,
emails and everything.
Well, you should definitely sign up to get the weekly thing. That's the e-bulletin. That's going to have all of the information that you need in the upcoming weeks about where the buses are and how to sign up for a bus. Okay. I just got some information back today from one of the 4 New York staffers, actually the YVM staff, who is working to get me quotes and to gather people from the Rochester area. So
Okay, all right, cool.
it's looking okay. It's looking okay. I won't say
All right.
good, but it's looking okay. So I will put our link in for New
Mhm.
York's link in the chat, and I would suggest you go there and sign up for the newsletter. Oh, okay.
All right.
So actually, Jennifer put in
Yeah.
the chat. Do you see that, ma'am? Email. Okay.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks for asking, Paulette.
Thanks.
All right, so go ahead, Malik. I'm gonna put the agenda back up there.
So up next is OASAS updates. So we have Pat Lincourt on. Hello, Pat.
Hi, good to see you. Good to see everybody. Glad to be here during Grateful Month because I know that we all are grateful to have this opportunity to get together and grateful for the opportunities for people. It was good to hear that somebody recently graduated and joined the group. So it's always fabulous to see this group doing what it does, welcoming new people and providing some support. So I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful for the team at OASAS, which includes Brenda and Chris, who I know is on and has been doing a wonderful job with our veterans agenda with recovery. And so want to acknowledge that. And, you know, just OASAS's investment too in services for people who are veterans. It's not, a lot of times veterans are really looking for veteran services, veterans focused services that include families. And so, you know, I know there've been a number of providers that have been able to launch those services and provide them and are successful with them. And so we're looking to expand that and expand the availability of recovery advocates that are also veterans and have that veterans designation, and we thank Malik for that because you spearheaded gave us the inspiration for that, and we you know, great to see that actualized. So it's great to be here on, celebrating that as well as Native American Heritage Month. I think, you know, Angelia reported on the continuingly concerning news about increases in overdoses. I do want to be grateful for the lives that have been saved through the efforts of so many people who are out there every day providing life-saving medication and harm reduction and engagement into all of forms of treatment and all of the pathways to recovery that there are. And we just need to continue to expand quicker, to expand into vulnerable populations. Access to care should be available to everyone. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to build the workforce that reflects communities and makes people feel comfortable to access services. You know, one of the biggest reasons people report that they don't come to services because they don't feel like they need it. And I think some of that is because they don't see it that, you know, in their community as available or as supported as it should be. So we're planning, you know, I know that the commissioner is very much committed to equity and recently created justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion associate commissioner. And Carmelita is a great advocate and will continue to advocate for that. You know, also, you know, Angelia also mentioned the SAMHSA strategic plan, and really good to see recovery as one of the guiding principles there with trauma-informed care, because I think the two very well go together. Brenda is testament to that as one of our subject matter experts on both of them here at OASAS. So we don't have a lot of OASAS specific updates. I think we'll have more as we get further into budget season. Certainly want to support your advocacy efforts in making sure that your voices are heard, because, you know, as you saw with the opioid settlement board, how important that is, that people really hear your perspective so that the resources follow. So just happy to be here, grateful for all of you, and I'm gonna need to leave in a few minutes, but I'll stay for a little while to hear about the veterans and Malik to hear your story. So great to be here.
Thanks so much, Pat. And we know that we have your ear and your heart and all the things that you've done for us throughout the years. So yes, and I appreciate what you said about veterans. So I'd like to take a second just to just take 1 second to just have all the veterans raise their hands on this call right now. All the veterans, raise your hands. All right. We just want to
shout them out.
We want to. So I got Deirdre Rice Reese. I got Emmanuel. I have Anthony. I have Anthony Shaw. I have Philippa. Who else? I see? Who else has their hand up?
Don't forget Jesus.
Jesus, I see you. Yes. Jesus.
Christopher Moses is on.
Christopher Moses, I see you. Power, yes.
Anthony.
Mighty Bronx has one.
Yes. Anthony. We have 2 Anthonys, Anthony Shaw and Anthony. Anybody in Kingsborough that's a veteran?
Yeah, the Mighty Bronx.
Mighty Bronx has veterans. Yes, all right. So we are in the building. Thank you all for your service. If I forgot anyone, I didn't do it with intent. Just thank you all the veterans on the call. We thank you for your service and your sacrifice. And that's what this day is about. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and really dive in to just give us all honor. And I salute you. We salute you. All right. So moving along, we have announcements and employment. Ruth Riddick. Ruth, I saw you, Ruth. All right. Come on. What's it all about?
Yay!
Recovery.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it's all about recovery. And frankly, that's what I'm grateful for this season is recovery. For me, for you, for all of us. I've very little that I wanted to say at this point, Malik. I'm looking forward to chatting a bit about the veteran supported recovery when we get to that point on the agenda. But if I may share my screen, there's just one web page that I do want to bring to everybody's attention, particularly at this time of year. Wilvina, if I may share my screen. Because this is something that creeps up on us when we're not thinking about it, and that's the reality of needing to renew our certifications, and that there are a lot of us that happens. I've no idea why this should be. But at this time of year, there are a lot of certificates contacting us because they're running out of time to renew their certifications. No certification is for life. Your professional certification is going to have a life of its own, but it's going to be time limited. In the case of foundational certifications in peer recovery, that is to say, CARC and SERPA, they are 3-year certifications. And they do need to be renewed every 3 years. I've renewed my CARC now about 3 or 4 times. And there's a very specific process for doing that. And it's all laid out here on this dedicated renewal program web page. There's even a YouTube video. Gosh, this must be a real program if there's a YouTube video. So I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention, whether it's relevant directly for you personally or for your colleagues, for somebody that you're working with. We're delighted when people become certified, we throw a party, we send congratulations cards, and then we forget about it. But a certification is a live thing. And the required continuing education credits and so on are all detailed here, along with lists of approved training opportunities. So that's just a reminder, a timely reminder to everybody, particularly sort of with the long weekend coming up at Thanksgiving, and since folks in recovery don't have to waste the weekend being hungover, this coming week, holiday weekend, and the holiday season may be an opportunity for folks to catch up on that continuing education and build those renewal credits. Speaking of which, this meeting itself is approved by ASAP New York Certification Board for continuing education credits under the banner heading of professional development. And certainly that was Louis LeBoy undertook to manage logistics for that. I'm not quite sure, Louis, if that's something that's ongoing with you, or I've just fallen into the bad habit of volunteering you this evening. Both. But we will certainly, I'll certainly connect with you, Louis, on this item moving forward. So that was just the one notice that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, because whoever you are, if you're a supervisor of peers, if you're a program manager, if you're a trainer, if you're a peer recovery professional yourself, this is important information for you. As usual, follow up with me. Yes, indeed, Malik.
Excuse me, and it's ironic that you bring that up, because me and Louis are on the certification board now.
You are.
And it's incredible. And it's something I noticed, that we're averaging at least upwards of 30 to 40 SERPAs, CARCs a month that are being either renewed, SERPA Ps. Like, this field is growing every month. Every month we approve a certain amount of SERPAs and CARCs every month, and SERPA provisional. So this field is growing. We know that it's growing. We're live and in living color, and we're seeing it. And we definitely appreciate all the work that's going on behind the scenes.
Thanks so much for that, Malik. And it's, of course, a real treasure to have you and Louis join us on the board of the New York Certification Board at ASAP. Absolutely. So that's my 2 cents for this evening, and I look forward to reverting to you a little later to talk about veteran-supported recovery. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Alton, I didn't see Alton today. Is Alton here?
He is.
Oh, I see him. Alton, what's up?
Hello, everyone. Hello.
All right.
So, in addition to what I said last month, for employee opportunity, we're still working with the migrant family. So if anyone's interested in working with the migrant families in some of our shelters at Acacia Network, please go to the For New York career page. I've uploaded some jobs on there. I'm going to continue to upload jobs on their website. So we're hiring for those. Bilingual Spanish, of course, is preferred, because these families primarily speak Spanish. And then in addition to that, I have great news. Acacia Network received several new grants for our CCBHC, which stands for Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinics. So we already had a clinic in the Bronx, and now we're opening up one in Albany. And we're also opening up one in Brooklyn. So these positions, there's going to be several new positions that have very competitive salaries attached to them. I think we have a multi-million-dollar grant that was given to us over the next 5 years. So we're going to be hiring SERPAs and SERPA Ps. So I'm glad Ruth continues to, and her people continue to get more certified people because there's jobs out there. We're also hiring psych rehab workers, admissions intake coordinators, which are CASAC-Ts or full CASACs. We're going to hire some RNs, some licensed social workers, as well as case managers and a couple of program directors. Very competitive salaries, six-figure salaries on the director level. So I'm very pleased to be able to offer that to the recovery community. And that's it. That's it for the updates on Acosta Network. I'll let you know next month if we have more jobs to offer.
All right, thank you so much.
Amazing.
I just looked at our agenda. We're like almost 25 minutes behind, so we had to move this thing on. And Mulvaney, you've been kind of nice on us this week.
I mean, I noticed Emmanuel has his hand up. Did you have a specific question before we push on? Yeah.
Yes, I had forwarded some friends of mine that's bilingual. I'm bilingual, but I'm not that good with it. I have some friends of mine that's bilingual, and they was I forwarded to Louis. So if I have to, could I forward it to somebody else too?
Okay, here's the thing. You need to look on the job board on the For New York website, right? So I could put that information in the chat for you because he mentioned, go directly there and you'll see all the links, all of that information. So I'll make sure that gets in the chat. But thanks so much for asking specifically about that, Emmanuel.
Yes.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Okay.
Very important. Thank you for that.
Keep sending the resumes.
Yes.
Yeah. And in the interest of time, if you have a question, put it in the chat and we'll be able to answer it when she reads it.
Exactly. We'll get back to you. All right. So noticing that we're a little behind to time, I'm not going to lead with my story and my presentation. I'm going to bring on Deirdre Rice-Reese, Assistant Vice President for Residential Services at Samaritan Village. She has to go, and we just want to make sure we honor her as a veteran, let her tell her story. She was also, let me make sure, she's a subject matter expert for VSR. She was one of the people that we relied on to assist us in the veteran-supported recovery. And without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Deirdre Rice-Reese.
Thank you, Malik. Thank you all for coming out. This is always an energizing meeting. I looked back at my invitation, and the last time I got one was November of last year. So I got to get my updated list going so that I'm on there. So I am Deirdre Rice-Reese. I am BPS, MPA, CASAC, and my most important letters is my MRS and my MOM. In case people didn't get that, those are the most important letters. United States Air Force veteran, 1980 to 1984, 86 if you count the reservists. I joined with my sister. Me and my sister entered the same day. Went to Lackland Air Force Base for basic training, tech school at Lowry. Dice Air Force Base for me. She got to go to California. I had to stay in Texas. So a little girl from Brooklyn in Texas, Abilene, Texas in 1980. If you can imagine some of the challenges that we faced at that time for women, for people of color, and in a place where they didn't even have Black radio, in fact, in 1980. So it was just like, it was all kind of soft rock and just kind of just getting used to being in a different place for this little girl. 317th Airlift Wing, we were the 12th Division, 317 Ops. I was logistics, so logistics just meant supply. You had to provide the support for the C-130 aircraft that still fly today. They're a little upgraded, but they were so raggedy at the time. Whenever they went out, we had to bring a whole pallet of the possible parts that it would need should it break down while you were in travel. The best part about that was that I got to go to 9 countries in 29 states in 4 years. And so that was, that was an experience for me. Had to grow up really quickly. I guess, as I said, I was 18. My sister was no longer with me after I got into my permanent station, fighting off sexism. At that time, women, very few in the military period, particularly in the Air Force, and then very few people of color. So little sexism and racism going on. I shouldn't say both on and off the installation. So that was a challenge for me. After I left the military, I was honorably discharged, thank goodness. I refused to go to Incirlik, Turkey, just because I was afraid. I was not prepared for another experience that I didn't know was going to occur. So I said, well, you know what? I'm going to just get out. I served in the reserves for 2 years beyond that. I came out at the height of the crack epidemic. So when you think of the 80s in New York City, in Brooklyn in particular, it was, we were just being ravaged and overrun with crack cocaine, just a challenging time for all of us. And of course, I tried it. And so how many know what happens if you try it? Anybody know?
Don't stop.
What if you like it? So
can't
if you tried it and you liked it, you probably continue to use it. I did, and I spent wonder years suffering, trying to get the support that I needed, and lost a lot of just my own inner strength and well-being. But there is recovery, right? So went into treatment, and interesting that this week, Phoenix House founder, one of the founders, Mitchell Rosenthal, passed away. Mitchell gave me my first vice presidency. So I went through treatment at Phoenix House, started as an entry-level counselor, moved all the way up to VP, and left to work at Samaritan Daytop Village some 20 years later. So one of those things where that recovery works if you can continue to be focused on your recovery, if you can maintain your composure, your comportment, your maintaining goals, staying on top of yourself. So getting your education, that was important, not necessary, but certainly important in career challenges or in career ascension. And for me, it just became a vocation. So I didn't enter the military because of my patriotism. I entered as a means to an end. And it became a strong part of who I am as it relates to service. So connecting my military to service to people in addiction, moving to recovery, was something that has always been important to me. Also a part of the ASAP executive committee as the chair of the diversity, equity, and inclusion, because we still have a lot of work to do as it relates to equity and inclusion, particularly around women's issues and people of color. I manage right now at Samaritan as an AVP, 3 veterans programs, 3 co-ed three gender specific programs, 3 co-ed programs, and we too have job openings. So don't let Acacia get all the like they can't get all the applications. Samaritan has a wonderful benefit package. We have, excellent services, but services for veterans, if you are a veteran or know someone who is a veteran who is suffering and needs residential treatment, it is important that you reach out to services that are specific to veterans. So we don't have veteran tracks. We have 3 veteran programs, 2 for men, 1 for women, specific, just women. And they are, and somebody put in the chat, 43rd Street, we have the Herd, the Hooch, and the Haven. The Haven is for the women. The 43rd Street Herd is in Manhattan, in the heart of Times Square. And the Hooch is at Richmond Hill in Queens. But certainly Samaritan has its own reputation of supporting people coming into recovery. I am a proud employee of Samaritan. I am a proud person in long-term recovery. This would be this year made 33 years in October. So, one of those things where you just keeping focus, staying on top of what was important to you. And I think one of the biggest catalysts for me to enter treatment was wanting to restore my relationship with families. And so staying in touch with families, staying connected with families, being a part of something that's greater than yourself. That is my story. And in the interest of time, I'm gonna lean back to Malik. And one day maybe I'll do my hip opera, as it were, as I play music often to encourage people to use music as a tool to focus their goals and their energy. So thank you, and that's my
Thank you.
story.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Jesus.
thanks
Thank
for
you.
that.
Salute, salute, salute.
Yeah,
Thank
be
you. Thank you
good.
so much.
Yeah.
As
And
you were.
just,
Now,
As you
someone
were.
also asked me in the chat, how would they be able to find out they're interested about the programs that you
Okay.
mentioned? They said they weren't a veteran specifically, but if there's any information you could
Yep, I
put.
certainly will
she can
put them
put
in.
it, she
And
can put it in
in
the
our
chat.
women's program, we actually have women, families
members.
of women veterans. So if you are a daughter, a niece, a son, there's family of women's veterans, and so we are happy to accommodate you as well. And I'll put it in the chat.
Please, please do, please do.
Now, if you do entertainment, we need you for the Stand Up for Recovery Day
Well,
as well.
my last year, I think they put me on the spot, and I wound up doing the hand washing song, which
Yeah,
was
that was good.
the turnover of "I Will Survive," but turned into the COVID hand washing song, 20 seconds. So I'll do my audition. I also upgraded it to do the vaccine song, the Happy Vaccine song. So got you on, because of the vaccine. So yeah, I'm there with you. I'm there. Let me know.
Thank you.
Thanks. So let's move it. You gotta move this on there, Bovini. All right. So
Ah,
I have two more veterans, and they both have to go somewhere. So I'm gonna
Okay.
concede, and I'm gonna do my thing last. So I'm gonna let Felipa go. All right, Felipa, you're up because I know you said you had to go somewhere afterwards. So I'm gonna allow you to go now. And then Chris, yes, I hear you, Chris. You're next. All right.
Shout out to Felipa.
Yeah.
So good to see her.
Yes,
Hey.
yes. Come on, Felipa.
Thank you. Likewise. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Malik and the committee. I'm a grateful addict. I'm a veteran also. And Malik knows me at the beginning of my journey in recovery because Malik was instrumental in helping me see the big picture, convincing me that it was okay for me to accept help. Sometimes we're so proud that we can't accept help. But I thank God and I'm grateful today that I did get the help. After 15 years, it's been 15 years now. And it's a beautiful thing to know that the journey is not a destination. There's so many hurdles that we come across, so many things that we have overcome in recovery. For myself, I'm speaking for myself. I have overcome so many things and so many challenges that it makes it, what can I say? It makes it easier to talk about it when you know someone's in need and someone needs help and someone needs to hear your story or someone needs to be encouraged. And I just want to encourage everyone who is new in recovery. It gets better later. It's always been looking for the answer that you've been seeking all along. But I'm grateful that there are people in my life like Anne Marie, propping me, making sure I do what I got to do. We need friends like that. So my challenges in the military was just like Deidre said, the sexism, the racism. I enlisted in 81 to 85 in the Navy. And, being young and stupid, I got into a lot of trouble. towards the end of my enlistment, which led into my addiction. And from there, you know, God rescued me. And how did he rescue me? He arrested me so that I can be still and hear his voice. And so, you know, that process of working through the areas that I need to address in my life were significant because I was broken. I was really broken, lost, didn't have family. I didn't have, and to this day, I don't have my natural family, but I have family in recovery. I have friends in recovery, and I draw from that strength. And so it's been a blessing for me to be in this process. I'm grateful that, you know, I have a God of my understanding. Truly, that's a big part of my recovery, to have a God of my understanding that I can lean on. So I don't know, you know, and I would encourage everyone to continue to um, work in their recovery because I find myself examining myself constantly to make sure I stay on the right path. You know, it's tricky. Um, I got married after being in recovery for a while, have a family. The family, you know, your family life has challenges that challenge you to say, wow, should I really? Do I really want to? But I need to. You know, it's not even a question in my mind about what I have to do about recovery. So I'm grateful and thank you for letting me be a part of this meeting. Thank you.
We appreciate you being a part of this meeting, and we're your family, sis.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
Dated your family, man.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's funny how time flies when you're having fun, right? 15 years later, right?
15 years, right, Malik? Yes, yes.
Good stuff. Chris
All right,
is,
bye, y'all.
Recovery Services Supervisor at OASAS. We're gonna let him go next. Come on, Christopher Moses.
Hey, Brenda didn't tell me we was being vulnerable today, but
Set up.
I don't mind. My name is Christopher Moses, Recovery Bureau Supervisor, KSAC, Master Degree in Psychology. I've been working in the field since 2000. When I was discharged, end the contract from United States Marine Corps. I served 4 years. I was attached to 31st MEU out of Okinawa, Japan. I did my schooling in California, 29 Palms, one of the hottest places on the earth. It melted the polish off your boots standing out there, literally. But anyway, I'm a adult child of 2 alcoholics. Born and raised in Albany, New York, still here. And so my life is and my life has always been guided by, you know, addiction and, you know, my parents, my mother in particular, watching her struggles. And, you know, as we all know, the family is very important in this, and we can't forget about the family members, and we can't forget about the caregivers. So that was, I think, the motivation behind, you know, first of all, me joining the military. I joined the military at 20 years old. I attained my associate's degree, and I said, you know what? I got to get out of here. I got to get out of this madness because if I don't, I'm going to jail. I'm going to prison, just like everybody else that look like me from where I'm from. And I didn't want that. I had 2 kids by that time. By the time I was 20, I had 2 sons. And so I said, you know, it's either I go do this time and change in prison, or I go do something and build myself up and be able to be a better father, because my father is an alcoholic as well. And so he lived his life separate from us, in Syracuse, New York. He moved out there, worked at GE. So he decided to do that. So I didn't have, a father in the house. I was kind of angry about that. I don't think my mother made the best choices and men and things like that. So we kind of had some disagreements because I knew she could do better. My mother is very smart. I mean, very smart. Back then, she did taxes by hand for everybody. She made a lot of money doing that. And so she instilled in us to, do good in school, get your education and, go as far as you can and, excel. So I went to the military, Marine Corps, first job I ever had. Um, and so, we all know what the military can do for you, provide you discipline, physical exercise, confidence, organization, um, you know, all those things, right? Honor, courage, commitment, some of the values that the Marine Corps has, right? So anyway, I got out. I said, what I'm going to do, got this GI Bill. I got 100,000 to buy some property. I bought a house. I went back to school. While I was in the military, I went to school, came back out. I came back and enrolled in a 4-year college. I almost instantly got a bachelor's degree due to my experience and MOUs with the schools and the military accept all credits from wherever, right? Continue. I went to Conifer Park. I said, I want to go to Conifer Park. I remember going to Conifer Park when I was 8 years old. I went there due to the family program they had. So I said, this is what I want to do. Maybe I can learn something and help my mom, right? So anyway, I started off, working. Didn't have nothing but a associate degree at that time, about to get a bachelor. And so, started in the inpatient, working with the youth, doing some smoking cessation, not on tobacco program. Got my bachelor's, then was encouraged to get my CASAC. Got my CASAC. I worked in admissions and intake, and dealing with records and psych records and psych evals and stuff like that, and admitting people. Moved on to case management. Got did all that, worked in detox. I transferred to the state department of corrections. I did that for a little bit in Johnstown, New York, in their Hell Creek. And so it was during the recession, so it was kind of costly getting there. So there was an opportunity to go work for the VA. So I said, you know what? I want to help vets, right? I want to continue to help vets. That was where I got my first start at, and I want to continue to do that. So I went there, worked for the vets, worked in their outpatient, worked in their SARPs, which is like their inpatient programs. Worked along with their psychologists, worked along with the behavioral health, mental health staff, and you really got an understanding of how that works. Um, Let me go back a little bit. When I was discharged, they gave me a book. You get a class, you get debriefs, and you get a book, and it shows you what you can do, what services are out there for you. And I think I took advantage of those services. I seen a lot of people just throw the book, but I said, you know what, I want to do something with myself. So I took that book and I just went through it and understood all the things that I could get. And that's important. Reentry is very important, I think, for the vets coming home from war to, just vets, period, in non-wartime situations. Um, and so I took advantage of those the services, the GI Bill. You got something called it's like a certificate you can get for property, for housing, or start a business. I took advantage of that. So I continued to work with vets, and then I went back to the state Department of Corrections again, and so I did that. I liked the work in there, and so there was a lot of vets in the prisons too, and So, I work closely with them and helping them the same way I did with that book. There's always a book, and I found the book online. And so connected them to the Division of Veteran Services. I worked with the Veterans Drug Course in Albany. I worked with homelessness. The VA has a homelessness program, homeless vouchers. So I dealt with that. So I even started my own veterans program. I have 8 unit property. I provide, SROs to them. I worked with local DSS and private pay, stuff like that. Um, there was something else that I wanted to discuss. Oh, when I went into the military, I was a little older, like I said. I was 20, and most of these guys were 17, 18. They didn't see nothing. I was on my own. I had kids. I had a mission. I was on a mission, and I seen how they were indoctrinated with all this alcohol. So we going out in the field. We in trenches. We live outside all week. We come home for the weekend, and it's a drinking party, and I said, oh, wow, this is crazy. I have you ever seen the life cycle of an alcoholic?
Mm.
I'm talking about daily. I'm talking about weekly. I'm talking about monthly, yearly for 50 years. I watched my mother slowly die. My mother succumbed to her illness December 10th, 2020. I just started working for Oasis, and I did get the support from Oasis. I appreciate that. But I watched my mother slowly die, and I could do nothing about it. My training didn't help. So, I had to love on my mother and just love her and just love her for who she was as a person. But what I want to point out is that we can't forget about alcohol, because alcohol is number one primary substance among veterans in New York State Oasis programs. 57% reported alcohol as their primary substance. So, I understand opioids and a lot of people overdosing, but we can't forget about alcohol. And so that's what I want to say today. And so we're at Oasis, we're working. I'm the Veterans Affairs rep for Oasis. We're looking at all these issues, trauma, housing, suicide, and we're really trying to make headway. We look into a treatment program for veterans through Blaisdell. We look into increased screening for veterans and make sure we identify veterans, all veterans, even veterans regardless of their discharge. We're using SBIRT. We're going to do GBIRT with some problem gambling. We going out and visiting. I just visited St. Joseph's Veterans Program, which is a great program. So I'm going to get out and visit Samaritan and visit all these other programs that supports vets, and working with the ASAP Veterans Committee. We are looking to look at the standards of veteran programs and really working with Oasis to really build up their veterans program based on some standards and endorsements for other treatment programs throughout the state, so that we know for sure that these programs are equipped and to better deal with the unique needs of the veterans. Again, as Brenda said, we increase trauma focus. I'm a trauma-informed care champion as well. And so we looking to build relationships also with the Dryer program, which has it's going to expand to 62 counties, all 62 counties. Right now, I believe it's 25 counties. It's going to expand to 62 counties. We work with the ASAP Veterans Committee. We work with problem gambling. We work with Division of Veteran Services. We work with OMH. And we were looking to work with all programs that support veterans. So again, that's my story. And finally, my father, everyone passed away, sisters and brothers, and just recently he moved in with me. He's 80 years old, stage 4 kidney failure, liver cancer, cirrhosis of the liver, dialysis 3-4 times a week, but I'm able to provide him a place to live. And he appreciates that. And you know, I never really knew my dad till he moved in with me. And I thought that was, I was thinking about that. I'm like, wow, I never really knew this guy. But he lives with me. And, they say after 70, he's 80, you have no more than 5 years to live.
Mm.
So he's been on dialysis for a year. So, and just watching two people go through the cycle of addiction from day I was born, pretty much, that I can remember. It's been here and to the end. So it's a journey. Some people don't make it. A lot of people do make it and can make it. So I'm not going to give up. It may be too late for my parents as far as the recovery side, but that's just more motivation for me to continue to reach out and dig in to help other vets and other people in general with their issues.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Christopher.
Wow.
That
Chris,
was very heartfelt, and also, that you're developing that relationship with your dad, the gifts of recovery, something to be thankful for. So without any further ado, I'm
Chris,
gonna
what about the 30 and 30? It's still on?
Yes.
Oh, yes, the 30 and 30, and we're gonna be looking to working with the dryer program. I met the guy similar in your role with the dryer program. His name is Gavin Walters, and he's working with some veterans who are doing some art, who's doing some writing, and I pitched a possibility to record them as well and possibly get that part of the 30 and 30.
Excellent. 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 All right. Good stuff. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. That was
Thank
like
you, Chris.
Lavina said, that was heartfelt and
Yes.
affected. We talk about, the disease of addiction, but what about those affected by it as well? And we definitely felt that. So good evening, everyone. I guess it's my turn. Good evening,
yes.
everyone. My name is Malik Hutchinson. Again, I'm a proud veteran right now. Y'all know I'm a proud person in long-term recovery, but right now I'm a proud veteran. And if you see that ship behind me, that's where it all began. It began in Great Mistakes, Illinois, where Ann's son is right now. But it started in Great Mistakes, Illinois. But right after Great Mistakes, Illinois, after finishing boot camp, I wound up on that big ship right there. Wound up on a 5,000 man ship out in the Indian Ocean, and we were traveling the Mediterranean Sea. So just imagine, you're coming from the city of New York, and then now you're on this big ship, and it's like, yo, y'all out there for 6-8 months at a time. And when I went in 1982, right after high school, and I stayed till 89. My first tour was on the USS John F. Kennedy. And at the time, I was what would be called a storekeeper. That was my MOS at the time. I was a storekeeper, but I always wanted to figure out what propelled that ship. So when the opportunity presented itself for me to become what is called a boiler technician, I found out how to actually run the ship. But I was excited. I traveled the world. I traveled literally around the world. I went from the East Coast on my first tour at Norfolk, Virginia. And then my second tour of duty, I wound up on the West Coast in that hot place, San Diego, California, that Christopher talks about. Camp Pendleton was out there as well, but I was in the Navy on a sub tender at the time. my second tour of duty, and I was in San Diego, California. And again, I feel it was an exciting time in my life. It was an exciting time in my life. But when, you know, it came time to re-enlist the third time, I just felt like I wanted to come back home, and I came on back home to the city. And as Deirdre expressed earlier, the crack era was in full effect. And, you know, I dibbed and dabbled, and like my whole life turned around. You know, I tried it, and that was it. And it made me do some things where I went from being in the military and doing tours and having 2 honorable discharges to now living a life of crime to support my addiction. And I wound up going to prison. And at the time I went to prison in the early 90s, I remember, and my journey is impactful because I remember going to court, and I knew if I got treatment, I would never come back because I knew what made me get out of control. I knew crack cocaine made me get out of control. But at the time when I went to court, the judge literally laughed at me. I said, I don't need to go to jail. I need help with my addiction. And he laughed. And he said, well, you'll get it, sir, upstate. I resented that. That really hurt my heart. I resented that. I still resent it. And I wound up doing my whole incarceration. I went all the way from Clinton, Dannemora, all the way upstate in Maxi Max prisons. Around that time, I wound up staying the whole of the 90s. That's how this thing did. And my whole thing was, I probably got high for like 3 years total. 3 years total. In 3 years, I wound up doing close to 11 years in prison for 3 years of crack use. I couldn't understand it. And if I would have gotten the help, I know if I would have gotten the help when I got it, educated myself in understanding this disease of addiction, you know, when I got out of prison, I went into treatment. When I left prison, I went to treatment. I checked myself into treatment, and I stayed in treatment. I did 9 months in a day at Samaritan Village, 43rd Street Veterans Program. I stayed in treatment my whole time. And I knew for me, when I went to the parole board, I told the board, listen, I need to go to treatment, and they paroled me to treatment. So imagine doing time, then going to treatment. Back then, that's how it was. Right now, us advocates for alternatives to incarceration, well, I'm living proof of what that looked like on the opposite spectrum. I hated the Pataki era, right? Pataki at the time, you know, and you know what was crazy? When I was in Green Correctional Facility, I watched Pataki build a Maxi Max prison inside a medium security prison. That is crazy. You couldn't even fathom it. But just imagine people being in lockdown for 23 hours a day with 1 hour of recreation inside of a medium security prison. That's how they was building prisons back when they had the prison industrial pipeline. All right, that was the 90s. That what the 90s was about. So when I was paroled in 99, and I went to Samaritan Village, I remember people telling me while I was in treatment that I was overzealous, that, yo, I was too good to be true, you know, but I knew what I needed to do to not go back to prison. I was afraid to go back to prison. See, it takes courage to say that. I was afraid to go back to prison because I didn't want to do life in prison. I didn't want to die in prison. I wanted to make sure that I lived, and my mission and my duty was to shut down prisons by any means necessary. So when I came out and got the opportunity to become a staff member at Samaritan Village Veterans Program, I remember I was down on my luck because at the time they had what was called a staff training program. Some of you who've been in recovery for quite a while, TRAP trainees, went from the inpatient program right into training to become staff members at an entry-level position. But at the time I went, so many people were relapsing and winding up back in the treatment program that they felt at the time when it was my turn, they felt that maybe I should go home and live life on life's terms and then come back. They'll call me back later on, which I did. I completed my program and went home. And I was in the video industry. I'm a video technician. I knew how to do videos and shoot videos and photography. And I remember being in that, I was in the job when 9/11 came, and I was on my way to work, and I remember, you know, the sense of urgency to just kind of, that's when everything shut down. So I went from treatment into doing music videos and being all with all these stars, and then all of a sudden everything shut down, to me chasing my boss for my paycheck and literally feeling like, what the hell is this? Like, what is happening? And, you know, I remember, because I used to think, I was vivid with it. So it was like from Monday to Thursday, he worked me like a government mule. And then Friday, I couldn't find him. Yo, man, this dude gonna make me, this guy gonna make me get at him, you know, but I loved him. But he would just do that to me, and I would be so irritated. And I remember going home one day without my paycheck, and I got a call from the director of 43rd Street, and she said, "Hey, Malik, could you come down for an interview Monday?" And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And I remember going down for that interview, and I haven't looked back since. I worked my way from being a house manager while going to school for my KSAC to eventually becoming a case manager. After becoming a case manager, I became the assistant director of clinical services. And I remember moving from that position into a position where we had a grant called Supportive Services for Veteran Families. And I had an opportunity to help write the grant, and I had an opportunity to bring that program into fruition. We were one of 3 programs in the city of New York. It was Help USA, Volunteers of America, and Samaritan Village that got the grants. And I remember I was at that time, we were at that time, it was like, I want to say 2004, 2005. At that time, we were in this like, should I give my secrets up, or should we collaborate together and begin to work together when it comes to housing our veterans in the city of New York? And we wound up coming together, us young men and women, we came together, and my program wound up getting, at the time, everybody around the country was getting 1-year grant renewals. I was doing so well, my program was doing so well that they gave me 3-year grant renewals as a result of the work that we were doing. And one thing I could do, I could put some veterans in housing. I could put some veterans in making sure they stayed in housing when they were challenged. Those are some of the things I really made sure I could do. But I remember, let me rewind the tape, because I wanted to like tie in how that peer-to-peer support services started working out for me. So remember, Deirdre talked about, we have 3, Samaritan Village had 3 veterans programs. They didn't always have it. They only had 1 at the time when I worked for them, and that was 43rd Street. I was doing outreach because we had plans on opening 2 more programs. And I was doing outreach, and me and Deirdre was working for Phoenix Health at the time. And she was, "Damn it, Malik, every time I turn around, you here." We were like,
you here.
Every day. We're bumping heads. I'm like, "What's up?" Well, giving her a hat. Air Force, it's not your fault. Take this hat. I love you.
Yeah, we ain't hating.
And we've been together ever since. But I just remember that was my first real experience about peer-to-peer services, and some of the stories I tell about some of the experiences I had. And one of the experiences I always like to tell is when I had a gentleman who really, because remember, this gentleman was a Vietnam era veteran who had gotten out of the service, was spit upon, was told that you were a loser and you didn't win the war, and this was one of the wars they said we lost, and you're a baby killer, and all this was said to him, that he literally denied his veteranship. But by the time I got to him, we were able to not only get him into treatment, but we were able to get his Purple Heart and have his Purple Heart pinned on by the Tuskegee Airmen. You understand? That's what this peer-to-peer work is about when you're talking about hitting the pavement and really turning lives around. You know, I knew what I needed to do to turn my life around, and I made sure that, you know, when I had the opportunity to really show up and turn someone else's life around, I was able to do that. And those are the things that drive me day to day to do this work. That was VSR back then, before there were even peers. So, you know, now, you know, speeding forward and being in the work and being in the field all these years. Wow, I was just saying today, I said, I'm knocking on 23 years in the field. It's incredible. So you talk about renewing your SERPA, I mean, your CARC and all that. I was looking, I said, man, my KSAC has been renewed quite a bit. In 2008, I was considered the KSAC of the year. So I don't pay for my KSAC renewals. I just need y'all to understand that. I don't pay for my KSAC renewals, Ruth. So you're free for my life. They're free for my life. But these are some amazing things that can happen when you're mission focused, when you understand what's happening and what drives me. And this is what drives me and motivates me to do the work I do today. One thing that I want to say that, and it's some monumental, I'm just, for time's sake, I'm cutting this up, but I remember having an opportunity to meet an owner of a person who bought one of the prisons from upstate because they had closed. And I remember, I have pictures to this day. I remember driving up to that and doing some negotiation where this developer purchased a prison, a shutdown prison, and he put something together that's a program for underprivileged youth up in it's past Saratoga. But it was just the fact that I was able to negotiate those type of things after saying that was my mission, to make sure just think, I was on the other side of the wall at one time in my life, but then there's been times in my life where I advocated for people in court to be released to me to come into the treatment programs. Like, that's how incredible this thing called recovery is. When you're mission focused, when you understand what you're doing for people, when you understand how this life really works. And I couldn't say it no more. Y'all on the screen know me for quite a few years. Y'all been with me. Y'all grew up with me in this field and this work. And I thank you all. But I had to skip around. But the most important piece I want you to understand is remain focused. Where you're at, anyone who's new to this recovery process, or you might be in treatment right now, your turn will come where you'll be sitting in these rooms and on these calls, and we need you in this field to pull, because some of us are ready to retire. We're ready to pass that baton. Please be there and be available to take the baton so that we can give it to you and carry this field to where it has to go. Thank you.
So yeah, that was an incredible journey that you took us through, Malik. We do have, I believe, 2 more speakers, if I'm not mistaken. We have 2 Anthonys, and I want to give them, I guess,
So what I want to do, if y'all could just bear with us a few minutes, because we have a method to our madness.
Okay.
So Ruth is going to, me and her are going to pull into the veteran supported recovery. That's why I brought it up. She's going to present, and then we're going to bring the Anthonys on. And I have,
well, we had 20 minutes. I don't know. It sounds like 10. And then we also, I wanted to say, I know there's some people that are expecting to do a little something from treatment peers.
If we can ask for a few more minutes.
You also have Julio Moran.
This is special.
That's right.
This is special. So if I ask y'all to hang on, just hang out with us.
All right. Well, I might have to put on the timer. Just saying.
Put on the timer.
All right. I'm going to put on the timer. All right. So what's up? Who's up next?
Ruth, come on, Ruth.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Gratitude Month.
Yes.
And Veterans Month. And here we are putting the 2 together. We're grateful for our veterans. And one of the ways that we are expressing our gratitude for our veterans is by creating the Veterans Supported Recovery training and certification. But when I say we starts with an I, and the I who started Veterans Supported Recovery is, of course, Malik. And Malik came to the 2019 ASAP Veterans Summit. And because we're all connected here, Deirdre Rice-Rees is an organizer of the annual Veterans Summit. Malik came to the summit and he said, and hearing his story, we can understand that he said in no uncertain terms, there needs to be a training, there needs to be a certification, there needs to be a specialization, there need to be a formal peer role supporting veterans. And, you know, sort of, we've heard him here this evening. You know, Malik speaks, the only response is, oh, right, okay, yes, sir. And that's the response that that Malik got from ASAP. We went out and we found the money to develop this certification and this original training. And the first thing that we did was we began, as all professional validated certifications do, we began with commissioning a role delineation study from Rachel Jinby Tan, our consultant psychometrician. Several people on this call and close to this call served as subject matter experts in that process. Malik, of course, Roy Kearse, who many of you remember from Samaritan. Roy is notionally retired in Georgia, but you know, Americans don't really retire. Roy was long-term president of the New York Certification Board, and sure thing, we were delighted to have him emeritus at our meeting this week. Deirdre Rice-Rees, of course, served as a subject matter expert in developing the role delineation study for VSR, as did Anthony Shaw, who's with us this evening. We talk about the two Anthonys. Anthony Shaw is one of those two Anthonys. And Pat Wooldridge, who many of you will remember from Phoenix House. So with a crew like that, you can't go far wrong. We published a role delineation study which laid the basis for developing an original training to deliver that role knowledge, skills and abilities for veteran supported recovery. And that training development team, which was led, of course, by Jason Page, convener of the trainer registry at ASAP NYCB, Malik served as a subject matter expert in delivering that original training and brought his gravitas to the development of the training. He wasn't the only veteran who served on that group. We were very grateful to have him and his fellow veterans. That training developed out of this process is in two parts. There's an orientation for individuals who are peer recovery professionals but are not veterans. That's an orientation that's taken as a standalone. And then there's the core curriculum, the core veteran supported recovery program. And that training is of value for any peer recovery professional. And because it's of value to any professional, we approve it for continuing education credits.
Hey, Ruth, you have 1 minute remaining.
But there is that one final point is the certification. And that was developed, of course, by the New York Certification Board at ASAP. Full details are available here on our website. A dedicated web page gives you all the information and access to the training and the certification. You see the same infographic on that web page. And of course, we always send information about what's happening with certification and training via our occasional e-newsletter. Sign up for it via this quirky QR code, which may or may not work, or the old-fashioned way by typing in this web address, and we'll keep you connected and we'll keep you posted. VSR is our contribution from ASAP NYCB to veterans, to the peer recovery profession, and to our celebration of veterans, this special Gratitude Veterans Month.
So, and thank you, Ruth. So incredibly, we were at the ASAP Veteran Summit this year on November 2nd. And one of the things that was incredible was I was able to report out to the summit on the current status of veteran supported recovery. And one thing that was really monumental for me and beautiful for me was these gentlemen right here. So the gentleman next to me is Anthony. This gentleman here, Anthony, is our first VSR designee. So let's give him a round of applause.
Yes, absolutely.
First VSR designee. Mr.
Yeah.
Shaw is like number 3, number 2 VSR designee. So we have VSR designees, and this gentleman here, Robert, is also a VSR designee. So we have people that are designees in the field right now. And this is just so incredible and beautiful to know that it's happening. So again, this is live. This is not imaginary. These things are happening. And as we said, to see people now, I remember this being an idea. I remember this being a reason to advocate, to see these men and these women as VSRs today is dream come true. So again, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better situation right now at this stage of my life. And I just want to give them a round of applause. And I'd like them to speak to us briefly about what their experience is like as VSR and how it ties in to their work today. So Anthony Shaw, whichever one y'all want to go first, because Wilvina got the clock. I'm telling y'all, she's on
Two
the clock.
Anthony's.
Come on, whoever's first.
Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. To my recovery family, hats off to you. What recovery is what it's all about.
Yes.
I love that t-shirt.
Yeah, I am the P ambassador of Oasis as well. Giving hats off to the recovery warriors. Every one of us on this line is a recovery warrior. But you know, this is real monumental to me because I started off as a mentor for the Mayor's Office for Veterans Affairs.
Yep.
And this, you know what this certification says? And on a lot of people, when they get degrees or they graduate or something like that, they say they met standards and requirements. On our certification, it says has met all competencies. Ain't that something? So here it is. I have so many, I got about 3 or 4 certifications, but that's the only one that says I have met the competency.
Absolutely.
You understand what I'm saying? So here it is. I'm a proud veteran and I'm a proud New Yorker. And also I stand my integrity upon reports. But here it is. I have competency level up to here and I damn sure got confidence. So I'm a threat. I'm a threat to people. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Come on, Anthony.
American Village is where I got my pathway to recovery.
Yeah.
Where at? Thompson Veterans Center.
Yes, at Thompson, the hooch.
Yeah,
And you was my clinical director.
SDP.
Who was?
Mr. Malik Hutchison was my clinical director.
Thank you, sir. Incredible, incredible. My people need to hear that. That's good. Come on there, Anthony. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Cole. I'm from Washington Heights. I hung out on the 193rd in St. Nicholas. And the way this veteran support recovery professional started for me, I went to last year's summit, which was virtual.
Mhm.
And it was an amazing thing to hear that they were offering something for veterans, because 2 months before, I started a veterans group for veterans in our methadone clinic that was suffering from PTSD and going through the same feelings I was going through, and we had nobody to talk to about it. So we had just started the group, and then this course came along, and I took it and I got the certification. I have my CARC, I have my SERPR, I have my New York Peer Specialist certification, my Peer Navigator service certification, but my VSR for me is, I'm very proud, because their 3 basic things that they taught me were validation, empathy, and respect. And I felt like my time in the military, when I got out, I didn't feel validated at times. And I'm able to talk to other veterans about that on a weekly basis and encourage them to change their life and do better. I'm a recovering addict. I came out of college and military in 1989, and I went straight to the streets because it was easy for me. But then my career as a plumber, they never drug tested me, so I continued using. But now I have 7 years clean. My first full-time job as a peer was with the Bronx Hope program, heroin overdose prevention education. When a person gets arrested in the Bronx, I go to the police precinct, meet with him, and I try to do an intervention so they can get help and they don't have to live and suffer the way I suffered. And I encourage them wellness. I'm the peer coordinator for my second full-time job at VIP with the mental health and wellness team. And I use my peer certification for that, my New York Peer Specialist. And I talk to people that come into the building every day. And the second question I ask them, are you a veteran? And I try to give them and help them get services. I know we're running out of time. God bless. And Mr. Hutchinson, thank you for having me be a part of this. It's making me feel sentimental, but thank you very much.
Thank you. It's making me feel sentimental just to hear you, and me too. And we'll be in touch. We will definitely be in touch. Thank you.
Take care, Louis.
Thank you, Wavina. What is next, Wavina?
All right, next up, I believe that we have a return speaker from last week.
Yes.
Mr. Julio Moran.
Julio's story was powerful. We had to bring him back. We have to hear him. All right. And we appreciate you for hanging out and being patient with us, Mr. Julio.
Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be asked to come again and to share. While I was listening to everybody speaking and sharing, I was able to write down everything or points that I went through the journey from when I was in the hospital, and seeing it on paper right now, it's like, wow, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. All right, let's start from the beginning. I was released from the feds on October 2nd after serving 77 months. October 2nd, 2020, after serving 77 months for a crime that I was high with a firearm. So I was on drugs. I had just relapsed. I was clean for a year prior to that. But anyway, I got home. I got a job right away. I was determined not to go back. So I put the best effort to gain employment, which I did in under a week. I got a job. I had my own place. Fast forward is November 9th. I'm feeling good. I'm happy. I feel like I'm in a good spot, and I decide on getting high. I said, you know what? I'm gonna do a bag of dope. It's nothing. I used to always do a lot before. So I bought this bag. Little did I know it wasn't heroin, it was fentanyl. And I overdosed. And this happened in Newburgh, New York, upstate New York. I overdosed and I went into a coma. while in the coma, I also had pneumonia, and it was resistant to all medicine, all antibiotics that they tried on me. On top of that, I had septic shock, which my blood became poisonous in my body, and my body started to reject it. So while I'm throwing up blood and going through all this, I get 3 blood transfusions. I had a stent put in my chest to relieve the pressure in the water from my lungs. I got a trach in my neck. I got a hole in my stomach. Some where the tube went in to feed me. Still, it looked like I got double belly buttons now. On top of that, I was coding. I was coding when you code blue is when you flatline. So I kept on dying, and it kept on bringing me back, and my body was getting weaker and weaker. I was on top of the pneumonia I had, which was a real bad infection. My body, I was sweating, so I was sweating profusely that I lost 100 pounds. On top of my body starting to kill itself, I was slowly deteriorating in that bed. Fast forward, December, they say, no, fast forward 5 days, New York, the doctors up there said that this was during COVID. They didn't see that keeping me in life support was a priority, because then there was triaging all the people in the hospitals to use all this because of COVID. So they wanted to pull the plug on me. They were telling my family, listen, there's no point in him being on life support, because if he survives, he'll be a vegetable. He was 4.5 minutes of oxygen to his brain, so he's not going to survive. And if he does, he'll be a vegetable. Right now, you're just stretching it out. My family refused to consent, so they came to a consensus. I got sent to another hospital. Another hospital accepted me, which was Montefiore Moses down here in the Bronx. And I was brought to with the intentions of me, passing away down here. So I get brought here. I'm in ICU. Finally, they get me a little stabilized. I get put in the hospice floor. I'm coding in there too, and they tell my family, listen, you need to come down here and make arrangements to have him, when he dies, where to take him to, what you gonna do with him. So my family, they came to New York to make arrangements to have my body flown to Puerto Rico. Because one way or the other, that's where I was headed to. If I was woke up a vegetable, that's where I was going. My mother said that she was just gonna keep me down there and let the sun, whatever. Anyway, this was December 19th. December 19th, my family came from Puerto Rico, Boston, and Puerto Rico, Boston, and here in New York. And they, and my baby mother and my son. So I don't know if y'all can see this.
Yes, we can.
Yes,
All
we
right,
can.
this is,
Yes, we can.
you can see that?
Yeah.
That's what my baby mother saw when she walked in to see me. And she took a picture of it. She said my name, and I woke up in that instant, right? Like 3 seconds later, I woke up out of my coma. Oof. I woke up out of my coma right after that.
How long were you in the coma?
I was in a coma for 5 weeks. I was in a coma from October 2nd to December 19th. So in that moment right there is when I woke up, and then my battle came to get my body back, because when I woke up, I had no muscles in my body. Literally, I couldn't stand up. I didn't know how to eat. I didn't know how to swallow or nothing. And I was still dealing with the infection in my body. I passed out, I think, for another day. After that, I was in and I was in and out of consciousness that I would remember. But while I was in the coma, my dreams, I had a lot of coma dreams. And in my coma dreams, it was my baby mother that was in it. She was the one that was the constant focus base, I would say, that was in my dreams, that was keeping me like, this is all I remember. So by me hearing her voice is what woke me up, which was her. I was tethered into her. And when I woke up, I told her the whole stories. I still remember some of my dreams. I don't know how I survived this. I don't know. It was a miracle. Listen, for even the doctors, they came to the hospital. And after I woke up, they couldn't believe it. They would walk in, they're like, "Oh my God, this can't be." You're like a paragon. You're
a miracle.
Yes, you
are
are
a miracle. But it was like that. You know how they always want to bring some modern science thing to it. So they was like, you're like other, like they couldn't explain it medical wise. I was not supposed to be coherent. Basically, I was not supposed to be able to speak, understand, or anything because they when I was in the coma, they checked my brain and I only had minor activity in the back of my lung.
And where are you?
Look at
Where
you
are
today.
Today, I just finished my recovery coach training. The 30 hours and the 16 hours of ethics training. I just finished that Tuesday. that was pretty good. Good accomplishment I got there for the help. And I'm taking things step by step. Right, I'm looking at these words right now, and it is a miracle. It is. I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose, and my purpose, I think, is what I'm doing now. What I'm trying to work towards, which is be a peer advocate and push it forward, share my story. Might even write a book, who knows?
Brother,
right now.
I mean,
you're in the right place.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
and again, I
Well,
want to
yeah, the journey continues, Julio. The journey continues. We
Yes, it
definitely
does.
appreciate you coming back here. And I'm not sure if we do have time for like Malik asked to take a conscience to stay on for another 10 minutes so that if our peers who were waiting, if you people agree to stay on for another few minutes, I believe that there are some peers who are waiting to just quickly share their stories with us until 8:15.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Almighty,
Julia, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share again.
Yes, could we pull up let's see where we at with the agenda, if you don't mind.
Sure. Hold on.
I appreciate y'all staying. I think this was important. I learned a lot. I hope you learned a little bit from me.
Yeah, we're at the conclude. We're at our peer portion.
Great. So
and just to once again mention that there will be no meeting in December. And
yes.
Malik, you might want to talk about before we leave the New Year's Eve portion.
All right. So we I want to say back in we bought in 2000. Did we bring in 2001? We bought in 2001 and 2002. On this Zoom. We bought 2001 and 2002 on this call. And it was necessary for us, and the commissioner at the time.
2020.
Wow, 20.
21, 20 to 21 and 21 to 22.
Ain't that something? So that's what I said, in the 21 and in the 22. So yes, so the commission at the time, she hung out with us as well. both years. And that's how powerful we are. We're doing big things on these calls, and we want to just continue to grow and add. And we have a spectacular evening of entertainment and fellowship. And please make sure that you on the call. No matter what you're doing, we had the ATCs were partying in their buildings. Elmco was partying here. You know, other agencies were partying where they were at. We're going to keep doing that this year too. And we're going to ring in the year together throughout the state on this call. And that's exciting. And I can't wait for that. I can't wait.
December 31st from 11
to 1.
Yep.
Yep, 11 to 1, and we have a whole host of entertainment and fun that we'll have that night. So see, I just needed a little extra time because I just thought it was so necessary for us to do this and for you all to really get a gist of what's happening on these platforms with us. It's a whole lot of talent, it's a whole lot of love, it's a whole lot of experience, and it's a whole lot of potential, and it's a whole host of opportunity for everybody that wants to be involved with this whole recovery movement. Did I forget anything? I don't see the agenda anymore.
No, well, you know what, that's because we are up to, there's a couple of ACTs right now that are waiting with bated breath to go on in our last few minutes.
Do your thing.
So,
one from each, just to, on the interest of time, because 8:08, maybe one from each.
All right.
Who's first? Brooklyn? I mean, who is it? Bronx ATC? Mighty Bronx, you ready? And I think we had somebody from
One Love is also ready.
Okay, so let's roll. Who's first? Bronx ATC, you ready?
They're trying to unmute.
Oh, One Love. Okay, come on, One Love.
Right now?
Yes.
Right now.
All right, you're up.
Sorry, I wasn't ready, but all right. I'll read this. Came out of therapy one day and I realized that I was just trying to learn how to mourn things. Aloha, my name is Danat, and I'm a recovering addict. I recently realized that the ritual of mourning is not something solely reserved for what's dead, gone, or abandoned. It is a process for the living, for the human, for the feeling, for what we most hold precious in life. For all things must end, and it is a privilege to have had and lost to not have felt at all. It is a cliche and inhumane to think otherwise. So before what is good and godly has gone, remember that it came, celebrate its arrival, welcome its existence. For what is precious in all of us is the mortality that walks with it. No two things exist at the same time for the same reason. Even when the sun and moon kiss, a lifetime is eclipsed. Even the roots must release, even the shores must erode, even the river must run, even the clouds must move on, even the breeze goes where we cannot see, and even your dreams visit you once while you sleep. Don't make a nightmare out of the things that you can't change. Don't cage your breath for the sake of one song. Don't thirst for what your lips once found supple, for it is the next kiss that your skin shivers for and most reaches for. For each of these moments makes a lifetime. For each of these letters makes a word. For each of these, my mind only creates a language birthed in everything I have yet to see. And so let life be born again as many times and however deep you choose to breathe, my friend. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Woo! All right.
Thank you.
Let's keep it moving. Where's the
All right, Bronx ATC.
See y'all, stay strong, all right? Love y'all.
Right. Where you at? Where you at? We see the mic.
The mighty Bronx, the mighty, mighty Bronx. There goes Malcolm.
You gotta unmute yourself, Malcolm.
You're muted.
You're muted, Malcolm.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having us. This is the mighty, mighty Bronx ATC.
Yeah, mighty Bronx.
My name is Tom. I'm a counselor here. I am an addiction counselor. I'm also a person in recovery. I completed Manhattan ATC in 2006, and now I work with Nelson, Wally, and Wheelie, who were my counselors there. Give it up for God. Give it up for all the veterans who served us. Thank you for your service. Thank you for everybody who's in recovery. We have 3 members of the community who would like to present. The first one being the veteran himself. He just want to give thanks. Give it up for Jake. Come on, Jake.
Good evening, family. My name is Jake, and I'm a recovering drug addict. So short on time, I'm gonna tell my story, but I guess that's for another day. So I just wanna thank everyone. You know, this is it's been like a family here in Bronx ATC, and I appreciate Malcolm, Ron, and Robert, and you guys are awesome, and I love you here. They really did change my life, and I've opened up to a lot of people here, and they'll hear my story soon. I just want to thank everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Give it up for
Who's
Jake.
next?
And now to read us a poem written by himself, the talented, the wonderful guitar player and singer, but reading the poem tonight.
All right.
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Abe, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. This is some little words that I wrote down the other morning, waking up and watching the sunrise from my room here at the Bronx ATC. And it goes like this. God bless you, sun, sky, earth, trees, leaves, grass, birds, cars, streets, institutions, buildings, homes, you, me, and us. Thank you.
All right. Whoa, drop the mic. Ooh. All right. All right. Who else?
And now to read us one of his favorite poems by Laston Hughes. Give it up for Mr. Kevin!
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kevin. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Kevin!
I'm grateful to be here. This poem was written by Langston Hughes. It always tells me that the poets know more about what's happening in America than the FBI or the CIA. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it drop rays from the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode? Thank you.
All right, we're winding down.
And now, again, thank you to the Alumni Association. Thank you for having us for our grand finale. Check it out. Hold on to your seats. Open up your hearts, because you're ready to shine. Because she's going to shine her light. Give it up for the one and only Jessica!
I'm in a long-term recovery, long haul. This is it for me. This is Sarah McLaughlin, Angel. Yeah, I'm nervous.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got this. Come on, we got you. You spend all your time waiting for that second chance, for the greatest of men. There's always some reason to feel not good enough, and it's hard at the end of the day. You need some distraction, oh, beautiful release. Memories seep through my veins. Let me be empty, oh, you weightless, and maybe find some peace tonight. In the arms of your angel, fly away from here. born from your wreckage of your silent reverie. You're in the arms of the angel. May you find some comfort here.
Yeah, we just want to give one last shout out to Donat, one love, keep coming back, it works. And to Terrence, thank you for coming, they just completed and they're coming. Thank you everyone, give it up for the Mighty Brothers.
Thank y'all. Oh, is that it? We got anybody else? That's it? All right. Thank y'all for the extra time. Appreciate you. We're back December 31st, 11 p.m. You'll get the info from our illustrious Bovina, representative of the team. We appreciate you all. Thank you. Happy holidays, plural. And we'll see you into next year. God bless.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Good night.
Thank you, Patty, for all that you've done.
Stay safe.
Thank you for always
Bye,
being
everybody.
on.
Well, Albert.
Patty,
Come
yes.
on, keep coming on, though, Patty.
All
Take some
right.
vitamin C.
Shout out to the Bronx. Feel better,
Yes.
Albert.
Thank
Great
you.
job, alumni steering. Thank you,
Yes.
Brenda and
Thank you.
Angelia.
Bye-bye,
Patience,
Thank you so much,
patience.
Dr. Brown.
Thank you for your patience. She ready to cut. She was ready to cut. She hit me in the chat. No, she hit me in the chat. No.
See you tomorrow on the call.
Bovina was keeping you in check, huh?
Well, no, you know what? I got like a message in the chat. I was like sitting here because I wasn't sure how long people had. And all of a sudden I got a message in the chat like, you better let them know. You better let them know.
We made it. We made it. And I think this was this was spectacular.
It was, you know what? All the stories were just so incredibly emotional. And Julio, I have to tell you, as a mom, as a parent, a mother, and also I have known people that were in a coma that their families turned the machines off. I mean, I was literally thinking about someone I knew personally from a home group. So brother, you know what? You are definitely here with a purpose, and just sharing that you were able to hear and dream about all of that. Like, it just goes to show we don't know, man, and your family like was not willing to give up. So you know what, you keep on keeping on. We are so incredibly proud of you. And a lot of times doctors don't know, they don't freaking know everything. So you know what, thank you so much for
Thank you.
sharing
Thank you for
your
allowing
story.
give me the opportunity.
Thanks, and come back. Don't come
Be
back.
encouraged. Be
Don't come back
encouraged.
just for the story. Don't come back just to tell your story. Come back and be a part of it.
I will.
Be a part of us.
I'll be every month. I come every month.
Yeah, and Malik, really, you know what? That was so emotional for me to hear, you know, your journey through incarceration, because we already know. And yeah, Pataki did none of us any favors when he was here.
Yo, I made it my business. They were talking, what was this guy's name going against Hochul? I was like,
Oh yeah, Zeldin.
I was like, oh my God, we could not have another Republican governor.
New York. If I can help it.
Yeah, I was worried about that too.
What was his name? I don't even remember his name.
Yeah,
Lee Zeldin. Lee
I
Zeldin.
don't even remember his name. All I knew was he was talking about, yo, we gonna not on my watch.
Right. But thank you all. Thank you, Julio. Thank you, Wilvina.
Thank you. Well, Vina.
Yeah.
Well, Vina, can you put me in for the on the email list so in the next meeting I'll get the flyer?
You know what? Do I have your email?
I don't know, because you didn't send me this flyer. Albert forwarded it to me.
I
Put your
see.
email in the chat real quick.
All right, yeah,
All
put
right,
it in
I
the
will.
chat and I'll
All
make
right.
sure to add you.
So
Okay.
now Malik and Wilvina, we gotta quickly get, because once people start with Thanksgiving, because we gotta do auditions or something for the talent. So we gotta quickly get something going for the New Year's Eve. So just wanted to kind of get that going, even if we can start some type of process for gathering our talent.
So let's
All right,
do the,
well,
let's
okay,
do-
listen, and we might have to do more than one audition because Angelia wants to do it for December 5th. I feel like that is a little too early because it's too early and it's on a Monday. So let me just
No,
write
no,
down.
but let's be clear, because she's doing a talent thing for stand-up
Friends of
recovery.
Friends of
That's not,
Recovery in
yeah,
February.
that's not what we're doing.
Oh,
We're
that's not what
doing
you're talking about.
No, we're not talking about that. We're talking
talking
about
about
for
our-
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
New
Oh,
Year's
all right.
Eve
Well, I'm
is a
glad you
talent thing.
clarified that. Now, listen, Julio, I'm going to put my email on here as well because sometimes I get these emails and then I either don't write them correctly or something happens. I am putting my email right now in the chat. So if
Okay.
by some chance, you know, I didn't get it correct, you can get in touch with me and just email me and say what's up and I'll
And
have your
Wilvina, I
email.
wrote it down too. I wrote it down too.
All right, so
Okay.
listen, Brenda, I mean, I know we've been on here a long time, but
Yeah.
let me just understand, because I'm gonna do the highlights and send those out on Monday. So
Okay.
I mean, for the talent part, you need like a separate flyer for that? Like, what do you need me to do?
Yeah, we need an Alumni Got Talent flyer,
Flyer, yeah.
and we need to
For New
recruit
Year's.
for
For
New
New Year's,
Year's Eve.
So I mean,
Right.
is this is something where we just inform them or they don't have to do any like special auditions, right? Like
Yeah,
how,
we
like,
know, we want to know who's gonna
Who's
do.
going to be on the show? Yes. It's just
all
not
right.
anybody.
So
It's
it's
just
gonna
not
be
anybody.
like a registration
Yeah.
list or something?
Well, we need to kind of vet people. So we
Yeah.
All right, so
want to be able to vet them. So if they want to do something, they have to just contact you and maybe you can vet them. You can see what they want to do and or, you know, how it's going to fit in, because we want to have it balanced. We want some singing. We want some, we need to reach out to that Bronx group. I don't know if they still are doing that comes in. They have a whole group that does a show.
So, I mean, what are like the time slots for that, just in general, so I have like a picture in my mind?
I don't know. I think we did most of the
Similar to
talent
Alumni's Got Talent, where we have like maybe 20 people?
Yeah, but this is
Yeah.
from 11. So remember, this is from 11 to 1.
1.
So you have to do, so at midnight, we're gonna be bringing in the new year together. And then usually that's when the party happens after that and all of the entertainment. What did we do before? What we do from 11 to 12, Malik?
So from 11 to 12, it's about fellowship and entertainment. We don't do the
Right.
we don't do the
No announcements.
announcements, none of that. All we do is have fun. So
Right.
we do.
Are
when we
there
talk about-
games?
So it's like we
Yeah.
could do something like that, but it's not about us promoting agencies. It's about us having fun and
Fun
fun.
and bringing
So
in
people that want to sing, people that want to write poetry, people that want to show their art, whatever they
So
want to
that's
do.
happening from 11 to 12.
11 to 11:50.
Okay.
11:45 roughly. Then we just sit down and we part. We get all our stuff, all banners and our horns and all that stuff. We collect all that and we start the countdown.
Okay.
Wherever we at, and then we do the countdown. And once we do the countdown, about 11:05, about 12:05, 12:10, we go back into the entertainment and we start talking again. It's not really Alumni Has Talent. It's really
No.
it's really entertainment for the whole club.
Right. So maybe we can give it a different name, Malik,
Yeah.
for this year.
Alumni Has Talent is actually Recovery Month.
Right.
This is about entertainment. So
So maybe
anybody
we
that
can
wants
give-
to entertain, we ask them to give us their
So
audition.
it's just our New Year's celebration.
Yeah.
It's the New Year's celebration. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
bring in your New Year's, with us or
Is
something.
there anybody going to do any sharing? Is there going to be any sharing portion? No.
Nope.
Okay.
It's all
All
about
right.
it's all about fun. So,
Oh, man, there's like people in the waiting room. The hell are
no,
they
I put them
doing
there.
there?
I put them there because they're off. I didn't
Oh,
want to,
okay.
because sometimes, remember when we was kicking them off, they were off permanently. So I've learned like we can put them in the waiting room and just when
Okay.
we close out, we close out.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
so I sent this to you, Wilvina, the what they call the chat. I sent it to you and Brenda, all right?
All right, so listen, the next time we have steering is it November 30th?
Yes, November 30th,
Okay.
all right? Enjoy, happy holiday.
Yes,
you
you
guys.
too.
God bless, I'm going fishing in the morning. I gotta get out
Yeah,
of here.
Malik, thanks for everything you do. I'm getting on a plane 6 this morning and I haven't even finished packing, y'all.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Where you going?
I'm going to Alabama.
That's right, okay. Enjoy,
Okay.
safe travels, all right?
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Safe travel.
Right, bye-bye.
All right.